What's the gospel? Put it in a sentence. The gospel is the news that Jesus Christ, the righteous one, died for our sins, rose again, eternally triumphant over all his enemies, so that there is now no condemnation for those who believe, but only everlasting joy. That's the gospel.
Hello friends, and welcome back to another episode of the Pulse Podcast. My name is Toye Akinoso. I'm your host, and as always, I am joined by MT Omoniyi. Today's question is all about the world of politics, and it's a particular topic which has split many politicians and even Christians over the last few years, and it's the topic of abortion. The question reads, as a Christian, can I vote for a party that is pro-abortion? Over to you, MT.
Right. This is a tough one because, as you've said in the onset, it is something that has divided people for many years. And I guess I should start as is the custom here to question the question. Rather than can I guess the question really is should I, because all I can offer is another perspective. And rather than speaking about abortion per se, what may be helpful, and the only reason I don't do that is because I think we probably need more time to lay out the different positions. And I think it's something that Christians can differ on, this idea of abortion, for a number of different reasons. But I guess what this question is getting at, the heart behind it, is how Christians should interact with difficult policy matters. The issue about voting for a party which is pro-abortion is a party is very seldom just pro-abortion. In that when we vote for parties, we're typically voting for a portfolio of beliefs. And so there will be things that parties do that you agree with and you think is good and consistent with what you think may be God's will for the earth. And there will be things the party stands against or does as well that you think actually this is not quite consistent with the weight of biblical text on this, right? And so it's difficult to give a yes or no answer, because what really a Christian has to do is balance what are often competing moral positions and weigh that against the changing faces of parties. I mean, if we use the American context, for example, it was the Republican Party that ended slavery, a terrible sin that really has stained American politics for years. America is still recovering in some senses. But the Republican Party that ended slavery is not the same Republican Party we see today. And the same thing's true of the Democrats. So things have changed over the years. And as such, it's very hard for a Christian, and I think Christian leaders equally should refrain from making pronouncements such as Christians should vote for this party or should vote for the other party. Instead, what a Christian should do is really try to weigh up how they engage in civic life. Because and how I've often described voting is like a gentle nudge, right? And the truth is, a Christian should be active in civic duty, such that voting is one of the many ways they get involved. So as a Christian ranks by priority what they consider important, they can vote. But then I think voting should be the first step. It's the floor, if you like, that then creates the foundation for a Christian to be meaningfully engaged in tilting and pointing and pushing the world in a way that they think glorifies God. Voting is a gentle nudge, but then the Christian must get involved. And that means organizing. It means debating. It means marching. Anything that's not apathy, I think, is a success in this way. And so whether we look at Romans 13, where Paul describes governing authorities as ministers of God, or we look at Genesis 9 from 5 to 6, where we get a biblical basis for government, God is interested in government, right? Government was and is God's idea. And so Christians should engage in a way that is consistent with its God-ordained purpose. So does government play an important role? Yes. And it's why Christians should care about the political process. It's why they should weigh up these competing passions. It's why they should seek to ask themselves, how do I use politics, as it were, to tilt the world in a way that I think glorifies God? But really, the dogma has to end there, because ultimately this is a matter of conscience. If there was supposedly a single issue political group that was solely anti-abortion, then maybe we can have this debate and say yes or no. But it's very, very seldom. In fact, I don't know of any party that is solely just pro-abortion. They often have a portfolio of beliefs that sometimes are competing and antagonistic. And so this is a conscience issue that Christians must prayerfully discern and work out where they're being led, right? Where they think the Bible points to, and do that. And I think so long as Christians do that, they can be sure and their conscience can be clean. But ultimately, that's how I think Christians ought to engage with the world around us.
Thank you for that brilliant answer, MT. And we do hope that helps you possibly navigate how you decide to vote in upcoming political campaigns. And thank you for listening. As always, we hope you do share, you do like, you do comment. And we hope you stay plugged with OGGM. You can follow us on all of our socials on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and wherever you can find us, we'll be there. And thank you for listening, and we hope we catch you next week at the same time.